Hey YouTube, welcome back to another Marvel Snap deck tech. Today we're looking at Wongoing, updated for Pool 3. This is a deck that I played a lot through as soon as I got Wong, because I got Wong pretty early into the pool. And so throwing him into just the classic kind of ongoing deck was pretty straightforward. And now that I have Luke Cage and Hazmat, the two cards that I've been waiting for since I first started playing Marvel Snap, and Luke Cage wasn't even released yet, finally we can build a ongoing list that seems to work a lot better. So the core thing is basically playing a whole bunch of ongoing cards to the 3 different locations and then using Spectrum to make them all much bigger. The difference is here we have the option of Hazmat instead if you don't draw Spectrum, or both, because you can go on turn 4 play Wong, on turn 5 Mystique, Hazmat, and then on turn 6 Spectrum. And because Spectrum hits everything twice, most of your things are ongoing, that it gives you 2 things for every -1 that you remove from them. So even if you don't hit Luke Cage, playing both Hazmat and Spectrum will cancel it out and keep you up ahead by 1 per each activation, which is pretty worthwhile. But there's a few other things that are worth looking at here. We've got Goose and Armor and Cosmo to slow down your opponent. You have to be careful because both Goose and Cosmo shut down your combo, so you don't want to put them into the lane that you're going to be putting Wong into. And then you have Colossus and Mr. Fantastic, which add power that can't be removed. Even if Mr. Fantastic goes to -50, he's still adding 2 to the side lanes, the lanes adjacent to him. So that if you're just doing a -1 or you're doing a -4 or something like that, it means that Mr. Fantastic is still going to be adding power that can't be reduced. Same goes for Colossus. His power doesn't change, so sitting at 3, you could have a lane with only Colossus in it, and your opponent has 4 things, they go into the negatives, Colossus stays at 3, which is really powerful. And then you have Ebony Maw and MN, just like a bunch of really cheap stuff. Like that whole top row is a bunch of cheap stuff that you can throw out early, so that later you have as many targets as you can hit for Spectrum. I've seen a few other ongoing lists playing Quinjet, for like its ability doesn't do anything, but it's just like another body that can hit. But I found that Ebony Maw and Ant-Man was fine. Whether or not you can play Ebony Maw is fine. You just have to time it carefully. And because you have a lot of 2-drops, you can play Ebony Maw on 3 with another 2-drop, and it's not a big deal. The only other thing is that if you're worried about particular tech cards, you can instead play Invisible Woman. She is a favorite of mine for sure, and she can sit in there somewhere as well. But the problem is you have to be careful of how your lane fits, because Wong, Mystique, Hazmat, Spectrum all in the same lane is 4. You don't have space for Invisible Woman, which means you'll be choosing between Hazmat and Spectrum, which is fine. Like, as you're looking at your final turn, you only have so many options anyway. But that is the deck breakdown. What we're going to do is we're going to play a few games and see how this plays out. Playing Destroy. And he's going to have priority. Don't even know if I want it anymore. Jesus. Okay, look at this. And then that's going to move Goose and pile something else into that lane if I really want. Yeah, he's playing Destroy. I think I just pick Wong. I think if I have to establish the combo. So, geez, he's gonna destroy stuff over there. But if he puts like a big Venom here, he can't Armazollar it later. I guess. I can't Mystique. I think that's fine. I just gotta choose between Hazmat and Spectrum on the final turn. It depends on if I draw something that's 4/3. Like if I get to draw something like Mr. Fantastic or I guess Mr. Fantastic's the best one. Drawing armor would be really good. Okay, so I guess I have a big Venom there. Let me draw a Mystique. Go like this. I mean, it doesn't really matter the order. He reveals first, which is really good. Because it means that whatever cards he plays will get hit by Hazmat. Okay. I think that's fine. I think we do actually win that. Just because of the copying the Ant-Man. That's such a niche play. But we get there. I just don't want to play that at all. I'm just going to abuse this as much as possible. As much as possible. This might get out of hand really fast. I wonder what my opponent's playing. Played Domino, but nothing on 3, so it doesn't think it's Silver Surfer. It might be Agatha. Double rock hit? Double rock hit. Huge. Yeah, I feel you, homie. I reveal first, which is not great. Oh, huge. I want to complete my quest, but they're totally going to forfeit. Yeah. A lot of the time, getting ahead, like even though he's winning 2 lanes, getting ahead on the final turn and snapping just is telling them that you have it and is enough to win a game. There's been a few times when I've like ripped Bast on turn 6, it's any card in my hand and I snap instantly, my opponent's like, nah, I'm dead. Just worth looking at. Let's talk about the deck. So, Spectrum Wongoing, the main problem is Wong is super telegraphed. Wong says, I'm going to play a bunch of really important things here, and it gives your opponent the opportunity to do stuff like Enchantress, play stuff like Cosmo, and there isn't really much playing around that unless if you want to do something like Invisible Woman, but the #1 deck that uses Invisible Woman to cover its tracks is a discard deck so that it doesn't discard its own Hela, in which playing Cosmo in front of it is still just the solution, right? So you kind of have to deal with the fact that you're going to lose to Cosmo a lot of the time if your opponent is playing it. Same with Enchantress. But that said, a lot of the decks that are just trying to go bigger than you won't win. Playing both Hazmat and Spectrum around will beat a lot of things, especially if they have a lot of stuff in play. If they're just putting down like a few singular really large things, it's possible it's going to be tough for you to beat them. But the deck is very, very fun. And throwing down a lot of Hazmat activations is pretty satisfying. So I don't know, if you think this is something that you would enjoy. I know I've been waiting to play this since day one. I'm a big fan of Hazmat. I really like how it works mathematically, where you're trying to count how many things that you have in play, and Luke Cage says don't worry about that. And building around it in such a way that your opponent is going to suffer from it more than you will, which I think is really cool. So let me know what you think. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and click one of these things to check out some of the more Marvel Snap content that I make. And I'll hopefully catch you in the next one.